and see what we can find on what was known as the old hook positions.
Okay. 출발하세요. 우리 10명입니다.
Where is he going? Where is he going? I'm not sure.
It's a little difficult to try to establish from the old maps onto the new maps to make sure we end up in the same right place. This is a very complicated area. The terrain is very difficult. There's lots of ridges and bumps, and it's very hard to read. So now we've got to make sure we're going to go to the right place.
Oh, they don't have a no-key position here. They're going to bring us here. That's the closest they can bring us.
Okay. Okay. So this we're going to get up. The closest we can get is the what is marked as the B Company position here. But at the same time, we should get a really clear view across the Saint-Michon River Valley to see the other Canadian positions towards Hill 355. So it'll be quite interesting to see what we can see from here. Most of the battlefields of the Canadians in Korea are in the demilitarized zone. So we're going into what is really a battle zone. And we're going to be escorted by a patrol of South Korean soldiers all the way up. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. We've got an escort with us. And we're going right into the DMZ, into the GP post that's close to the hook. So we're going to have to stop filming in a couple seconds because we're getting close to one of the defensive positions. So we're going to be going up to the top of the hill, which is, of course, it's going to be the outpost, or the GP they call it here, which is in the middle of the demilitarized zone. It also was a Canadian battlefield. So we're going to try and find the hook positions as closely as we can. So from there we'll be able to see the North Korean positions of today, as well as the Communist Chinese positions of 1951-52. So it's sort of going back in time a little bit, but the tension is still there. I just wonder how long this can go on for.
여기서 요쪽을 배경으로 찍으시면 됩니다. 여기 요쪽. 저쪽은 안 되고 저기가 적 GP거든요.
That's the North Korean post over there?
That is the enemy post.
This point, so we're here, yeah, 248, and that's,
okay.
That's 132 is that right there.
Now here is North Korea zone.
Yeah.
We can't go there.
Oh yeah, or one way.
Right.
Here is called HID Hill. HID Hill. Do you know HID?
HID? No.
HID is a special forces of South Korean to infiltrate to North Korea.
Well.
You know the noise, the explosion?
Yes.
Just before you heard? That is the noise of mine explosion. The animal.
Oh, an animal's gone on the mine.
Yeah. Pressed the mine, so mine brought up.
Okay. It's good to know it's not...
Yeah.
조심해야 됩니다. 그래서 길이 아닌 곳은 절대 다니지 않고 있어요, 우리도.
So you have to be very careful not to go the minefield because there is only road sign. There is a triangle
the red
sign.
triangles.
Red triangles saying the minefield, so you don't have to, you shouldn't go there.
요게 그 연천평야하고
이게 삼이천.
삼이천.
Saint-Michon River.
네.
Yeah.
삼이천.
So we're looking over here.
Yeah.
예. 이게 잘못됐어. Long. This line is long.
Yeah, this is old. This is from
Okay.
1952.
Now here.
Up here, okay,
Yeah.
right at 355. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
It's hard when you use the old maps. See? In the winter of 1952, the Hook was the UN's most important position in the sector west of the Samichon River. Consequently, it received special attention from the Chinese, who were only 300 yards away and within easy striking distance. The men defending the Hook had to be constantly on guard, watching for signs of an impending communist attack. This position was very, very important because if they could take the Hook, they could literally outflank some of the other positions, which you can see off to the right, which is all down the line here, which is where the Canadians were for most of the Korean War. And so it was always very important that this position be held. But the battle we're interested in is the one that took place in November 1952, which is the first action of the 3rd Battalion, Princess Patricia's. The Hook was held by the Black Watch, the Royal Highlanders, and they were very fortunate to be the men who were in support of them. So they're actually in these little valleys over here. They had 2 companies, and the companies were in consecutive order. So if anything went wrong, they would move up into varying positions. And what happened on the night of the 18th and 19th November, the Chinese put down a lot of artillery fire and cut the position off, and of course they went after the Warsaw position, which was the lead one. For the Patricians, they had to come up through these little valleys, move up into position, and then launch the attack to help recapture the position.
It takes a long time to draw close to the Hook. The great explosions are unending. Just above my head, I know the air is filled with jagged, searing shrapnel. We come on 2 sandbag bunkers. There's a huge mound of earth to our left, dumped by high explosive shells. A Scout's booted feet jut grotesquely from its center. We move forward, tread on bodies in the bottom of the trench. I'm scared now. The reality of battle death came the instant I saw the bodies of the Scouts.
To their credit, they came up through here, and by the time they had arrived, another unit of the Black Watch had recaptured the position, so they were able to drive off the communists. But you can see from here as well, you get a really nice view of the communist positions, and they're much closer here. This river valley is much more narrow than this Samichon. And of course, after that position, until 53, early 53, the Canadians patrolled this position and went out into the lines and ran into a few problems there. But when they knocked the communists back in November, it sort of calmed them down a little bit. But this area of the Samichon Valley was where all the patrols used to go out. And it's also where the Canadians suffered most of their casualties during the Korean War. For example, I would say, out of the 400 or so that were killed, 350, 370 were killed in this area along here. This is where the Canadians took all their casualties. All along the Samichon, throughout 1952 and 1953, the static war grinds on. And as the peace talks drag at Panmunjom, life for the men in the line becomes routine, often tedious, but always dangerous, with death never very far away. We are on the road north of Seoul, approaching the DMZ. We're going up to Hill 187, which was a battlefield for many of the Canadians who fought in Korea. During the Korean War, Canadian troops served overseas for a 12-month period, and then they would be rotated out and new troops would come in. And one of the soldiers in the 3rd Battalion, Royal Canadian Regiment, was Terry Maher. And Terry, can you explain how you decided to come to Korea?
I, like a lot of the fellows at the time, grew up with a lot of heroes in our towns and villages from the Second World War, and there was a certain amount of romanticism in me, as it was with a lot of the volunteers that came over here.
when you landed in